Hi, and welcome to today's SME Business Podcast. Your host, Mark, will be joining you to interview a founder of an SME business each week, highlighting lessons learned and revealing insights. Listen and learn each week on how to get and stay ahead.
Hi, dear listeners. Thank you for tuning in for the next episode of the SME Business Podcast. Today, we're joined by Lehi Kafri. Lehi Kafri is a health and fitness coach that helps business professionals eat and train and balance with their career with our three-step system. Lehi has been doing this for over a decade. She has a master's in exercise science. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
Yes, so again, for listeners, something different, guest-wise, which is great. We need to, listen to lots of different industries. I think it might help, help our own company improve, or help our own, fitness improve in this case. Not to give too much away, but can you tell me a bit more about yourself and how you got into entrepreneurship?
Yes, absolutely. So I've always been, in athletics and grew up just fitness all around. So I knew that at some point I was going to do a job having to do with fitness and health just because I was so passionate about it. So I kind of took the normal route of going to college and in getting my bachelor's in kinesiology and then taking, my certifications to be a personal trainer as just like a normal rite of passage. And then I went on to get my master's just because I really wanted to understand everything on a nutritional level as well, because exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. So I got my master's in exercise science, which had an emphasis on nutrition. And then once I got out of that, I started working at a gym, actually a Gold's Gym in Austin, where it's like one of the biggest ones there. And I was super successful. But then what I found was, 2 years into it, I had so many clients that I was burned out. Like I was starting to burn out, and I could see that if I didn't, like, if there's just one of me and only so many hours in the day, and I obviously wanted to make more money. And at gyms, they take 40% of every session. So that was like a huge pay cut,
Yes.
from what I was selling anyway. So for myself, I was like, how do I break away from like the big box gym and like go out on my own and have my own business for real? So that was
Yes.
in,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, like it completely makes sense. And you go like, well, like why I'm paying 40%, while I'm delivering the services, that kind of thing. Um, and then like you then have to fit in, what the gym ethos is and that kind of thing. But yeah, Gold's is a big one. As a funny backstory there, like I'm originally Dutch, and there was a Gold's gym in the small town I lived in, where like suburbia. And it was a Gold's Gym, but of course it wasn't an actual official franchise. But because it said Gold's Gym, like everybody assumed like it was part of the original chain, that kind of thing. But I
Yeah,
just
they're
remember as well,
everywhere.
like going like it was like one of two first 24/7 gyms in Netherlands back then. Um, and you just go like, okay, funny enough, like why did you decide to open this suburban town? And yes, it was like the center of the country kind of thing, but it was quite funny, so I would like go and work out like 3 o'clock in the morning, um
Oh,
with
wow.
like with cab drivers and whatever, and they would look at me like, why are you here? And I was like, well, I was just like, like, this is nice and quiet. So yeah, it's funny, like Gold's Gym is like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
an
it's a big
icon,
one.
like yes, it's like I'm not too familiar with all the ones, but like everybody knows Gold's Gym. So yeah, and Austin, like awesome place to be.
Yeah,
Um,
super fun.
and then yeah, talking about fitness, like slight leeway, whatever. Fitness, like it's not important just as a business, of course, but it's also important for business. Um, so yeah, the next question coming to that is like, um, what do you do to help your clients achieve?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, when it finally came to that I had to, make a move and go out on my own, which was like where my entrepreneurship journey started, I hired a mentor who basically taught me how to pivot my business online. And how I could, instead of having, so many hours in the day to work with people, that I could work with so many more online, cut my time in half, get back the 40% that I was, taking as a cut and just make way more money and have just more time freedom back. So I think pivoting into the online space was one of the biggest shifts and best shifts when it came to like my journey in entrepreneurship. And then, from there, I had all types of clients all over the country, some out of country too. But the biggest thing for my clients is really helping them understand what their balance is, because everybody's is different. Everybody has different goals, and there's going to have to be a structure, but that fits into their lifestyle. Because so much of the time, people try to choose a diet or a workout program that they try to fit into their life, when if it's not a good fit, no matter how hard they try, it's just not going to happen. So it's really just helping my clients understand, like, what is their day-to-day routine and lifestyle look like, and let's choose something that actually falls into that day-to-day routine and serves them, rather than creates another burden or another chore that they have.
I fall in the same trap myself where I go like, like somebody goes like, oh yeah, you can spend like 2 hours in the morning in the gym. It's like, and then you go like, well, no, actually, I don't have the time because I have to go back in time pre-COVID and to get, kids ready for school, that kind of thing. So you have to be like, hey, you know what? If I set myself up for a gym schedule that I can't keep, then I'm already gonna burn out quickly because, yeah, I set myself up for failure, that kind of thing, which
Exactly.
doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And people oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, okay. No, go ahead.
Well, no, just like you said, everybody's lifestyle is different. Like, some people have kids, some people don't. Like, I know that when I was
Yeah,
in college, I could work out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, but it's because I was single and in college and didn't have any other responsibilities. So,
yes,
yeah, just like you said, it's totally different for everyone.
yes. And then like I'm wondering as well, like what's the problem that you see with the fitness and the diet industry?
Yeah, the biggest problem is that the fitness and diet industry sell temporary solutions, which basically gives a person a quick win, but they can't sustain that solution because it is temporary. And so what happens is, when they burn out, when they, are back to square one, and they want to get motivated again, they come back to the fitness and diet industry that gives them another gimmick, another short term solution. So they keep coming back and they keep paying more. And so, my job and my biggest mission for my business and just for my clients is, level the playing field and give them a solution that is lifestyle, that is going to help, that is going to be lasting, not just 3 months from now, like all those 90-day programs, not 6 months from now. I'm talking a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Like, what can you do nutritionally and exercise wise that you could do forever? That it's something that you enjoy, but you also, have some discipline where you could fit it in to your day and keep it consistent for life. And so that's where I really think the diet and fitness industry, they create these regimens that are so hard to stay on top of for the long term. And so that's why people give up. That's why people get frustrated, is because they're having to start over all the time. And it's not their fault, because they're choosing something that, like you said, they're not going to be able to keep up with. So they're inevitably shooting themselves in the foot every single time.
Completely agree. It's like it's one of those things where you do a quick sprint, if you will. But let's be honest, it's about the marathon, that kind of thing. And then let's not even talk about diet. um, a lot of it is like processed food. People work more, so there's less fresh food being made. Then it doesn't help as well that fresh food, depending on where you live, it can be quite expensive, or you live in food deserts, if you will, where the only food you can get is unhealthy. Um, so yeah, it's just one of those things that where the industry can do better. But to be fair, I think governments also can do better. Where they should be more aggressive with making unhealthy foods less attractive. And yes, I know sugar is attractive, but they can do other stuff where to do like even like I'm not saying like they should come up with a government cookbook or whatever because that sounds very like rationing. But yeah, like
No, I totally
why
get what you're saying
can't they?
though.
Yeah, yes. It's
Because
so
they make the most unhealthiest foods the cheapest options. So if your low socioeconomic status is where you can only afford those cheaper options, but it's all unhealthy
yes.
food, like that's where the government should probably make those I mean at least make the healthy foods more affordable as well. Another thing, though, and this is why I love entrepreneurship and the private sector more than government because they actually get things done and they get real solutions. But there's companies now. I know that there's this company, I think it's called Imperfect Foods, and it's just foods that it's healthy foods, but they're maybe they're shaped funny or maybe they don't look the prettiest, and they get boxed and they're like 40% cheaper, where you can buy that for a fraction of the price that you would get it at like Whole Foods or like your co-op, right? So definitely, I think, if people have more information about like where they can get more affordable, healthy foods, or even just how to create simple recipes on a budget, which that's actually something I'm working on in my own like projects. I think it's just knowledge is power, and when they're educated and when you know what to do, it makes everything a lot easier.
Yes, and then also, like I think, like thinking like stuff like keto diet, you sometimes go like, well, for instance, personally, like I go like, well, maybe I like it myself, but then the problem is you don't want to cook separately, that kind of thing. And that's sometimes also where some of the diet methods don't really work in a family setting or multiple people in the house because the other person doesn't want it or can't use it or
Yeah, I totally get that issue a
lots of
lot
things
from
to think
parents.
about. Yeah. So what kind of things do you offer?
Yeah, so basically, what I offer, I have a one-to-one coaching program where we really customize your plan, meaning we look at your nutrition and we find out what are your parameters, like what are the amount of calories that you should be eating on a day-to-day basis for your body, your activity factor, your stress level, your job. We really, really hone it down to a range of parameters that basically give you the flexibility to eat what you want, but also give you the education of like 80% of the time you should be making those common sense choices of what healthy food is, which is just real food that looks like it did when it came off, the tree or out of the ground or, in the farm, right? And then 20% of the time, have the foods that you like to indulge in, whether that's wine or pizza or cheese, like the things that we know are like probably not the best for us, but it still shouldn't be off limits because inevitably you're just going to break. So I really live by the 80-20 rule where I teach my clients 80% of the time, make those healthy choices, and then 20% of the time, indulge, have a good time, because that's what's going to last. And you're going to be able to, give yourself that flexibility, which is just going to be more sustainable in the long term. And then regarding exercise, I always tell people your results regarding how your body looks, it's first going to be 80% nutrition. And then guess what? Exercise is only 20%. So that means you don't have to spend 2 hours at the gym every day. I have clients who literally spend 30 minutes 3 times a week doing a strength training regimen, either at home or at the gym, whichever they prefer, especially after, COVID and everything. But that gives them, just the idea that, wow, I don't have to slave at the gym and eat chicken and broccoli for the rest of my life to have the physique I want. I can still lose the weight because that's all nutrition. And then my body, I can shape it the way I want through proper progressive overload for like training. Because a lot of times people just do random stuff that they see on Instagram or Pinterest or a workout DVD. And because it has no structure, they're not going to see progress in their body. So I always say, like, have a structured plan when it comes to working out. if you want to see like
Yeah,
real
it's funny you
results
mentioned it,
happening.
like, DVDs and whatever. Yes, yes. Before my wedding, back in the day, me and my wife, we did Insanity, and then only white meats and fish. Um, um, and then you later go like, well, was it Insanity that did it, or was it the diet? And from the sweating, you
First.
go like, well, it was the Insanity, but it's probably it was the diet. Um, but yeah, it's true, like you can exercise all you want, but then if you eat the stuff, wrong food, and let's be honest, sodas and whatever, with sodas, they should just like put like literally the amount of sugar cubes, like literally like an actual, I don't know, picture on the can or on the bottle. So you go like,
Yeah.
this is like 4 sugar cubes.
Yep.
Um, or you have to go like, like I don't know if countries already do that, but to go like, hey, this is I don't know, a snack bar. I'm not going to say which one, but in case somebody wants to sue me. But basically go like, this is 800 calories, whatever. So yeah, that will be like 3 hours on a treadmill, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're exactly
Or
right.
like
Like,
5 kilometers of walking or whatever. I think that's the way, or more aggressively almost, where you go like, well, if you have this every day, then you're short in life for 2 years, that kind of thing. Which
yeah.
is like, like maybe it's not necessarily positive advertising, if you, but maybe that's what's needed because,
Yeah, negative
um,
reinforcement.
yeah, like yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's one of those things where, of course, I still know that there's still people, even across, Western countries, that are, you know uh, don't have enough food. But we also have lots of people that eat eat or get too much calories. Um, and this is the funny part as well. You talk about like calories as well. Back in the day, like we used to like all go out and we work outside and whatever. And now, let's be honest, a lot of us have desk jobs. So, yeah, the calorie count doesn't need to be that high anymore because you're not like even moving anymore. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's one of those things where, yeah, we all need to do better. Because otherwise we end up, I don't know what movie that was, where they end up sitting in the flying wheelchairs. I forgot what it's called.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's like it was like a cartoon, and then they
Oh,
basically, yeah.
I feel that sounds so familiar, but like, yeah,
It's
you're
gonna
right. Like, we're not as active as we once were, and if we do
No,
exercise once a day, like that's still just 1 hour out of our 23 hours. Like, what are you doing the rest of those 23 hours, right, of the day? So
yes,
it really and I think
yes,
to what you were saying about food and sugar and the labels of stuff. I think on our part, we just, and this is what I train my clients to do, is become a smarter consumer. Meaning, when you're looking at foods, really look at the ingredients and make sure what's like actually in there, because a lot of times, sugar comes in. I mean, there are 60 different names for sugar. It doesn't say sugar on there. It'll say sucrose,
Oh
fructose.
yes,
It'll say
no, exactly.
xylitol or
Yes.
dextrin. So, and that's all sugar. And so the problem too is there's healthy foods now that we think are healthy, but they are also just full of sugar. And a lot of people think, oh, I have no willpower. I break, I'm weak, I'm not disciplined. And that's not the case at all, because they've done studies and sugar is actually more addicting than like other types of drugs. Like, they found that your brain reacts the same way to sugar that the brain reacts to cocaine. But guess what? Sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So what people need to understand, what people need to understand is, if they want to start to break that addiction, they need to start looking at the ingredients and really start shifting to things that don't have so much added sugar in them, and be better at consuming products and foods that are like just either more natural when it comes to sugar, like actual fruit, and then using substitutes like, I know that stevia is like a natural sweetener, and monk fruit is like,
Yes,
you
yes.
know, a lot better for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just because it's lower on the glycemic index. But like those are like small things you can do to just start making those swaps. Just because sugar now is in everything, and that's the main culprit, especially regarding our health. If you think about what sugar does to our body, it just inflames it, it destroys our gut bacteria, and guess what? Inflammation causes disease, and if we have like bad gut health, that also is connected to our immune system.
Yes.
So things that people can do today is actually become smarter consumers, read the labels, make sure you're not ingesting so much sugar. And honestly, like I'm all about not cutting anything out, like keeping what you love. But when it comes to like sodas and even juice, like I think a lot of parents think juice is okay for their kids, but in some aspects juice is worse than soda because it has way more sugar.
Yes.
So I would just say,
Yes.
like, cut that out and you will be
Yeah.
amazed at how your energy is feeling, how your quality of life is going to change. Yeah, sugar is definitely a big culprit, but it's definitely just about paying attention and being more aware. So yeah, that's
Yes,
what
and
I
then
would say.
like portion sizes and whatever, like cut down portion sizes. Of course, this is not necessarily representative of the rest of America, but I remember going to Vegas, and of course, I know that's a special kind of place.
It's Sin
And then
City,
having
baby.
like a steak cheese sandwich, and I just remember like I could barely finish half. Um, and I was just sitting like who can actually eat
Yeah.
who can actually eat the whole thing? And then I remember going back home, and then like no joke, like I had to buy new pants in America. This is for your entertainment. I don't mind making fun of
Oh
myself.
my goodness.
And then when I go back, because of course like the average hotel room doesn't have a scale. I just found out like I gained 10 kilos. Um, um, and then of course, yeah, before you get it off, it's like it's so much, but then it's like, oh yeah, the portions like were massive. And this is the slight difference. I also spent like earlier, when I was traveling, I spent time like in Scandinavia. And then, for instance, like with lunches, they do like massive salads. So we do like a I don't know, like a prawn salad or something, and you look at it and be like, this is the size of Titanic as well. But then you realize, no, this is like, like if you skip like the thousand item dressing, that's really, you're eating lettuce and, some fish, and that's about it. Um, so my point was like, it's also like portion sizes. So even if you start, like cutting down portion sizes for me personally, that already helps, and that can be like, where you start. And the stevia, that's very good as well. I remember it going about back in the day, and people were like, oh yeah, but it has this slightly different flavor. It's like, yeah, but this is actually not completely toxic. It's literally from a plant. Um, um, yeah, so it's good to, like to see more, more, um, you know,
Yeah.
um,
And the thing too
exposure
is,
to it as such, and more people.
yeah, and the American diet, that's another thing that honestly, like, it needs to be looked at again because again, our portions are way too big. 2/3 of America is either overweight or obese, and we have ingredients that are still okay to put, but like in Europe, like those are the same ingredients that are like banned in Europe, and I'm like, how come they're not banning it here? Like they're obviously so bad for us. Like,
Yeah.
so in the end, it's just about, making sure my clients take control of their health by being a smarter consumer, understanding what a portion size is, like real balance, but also filling up on the right things. Because here's the thing, if you eat healthier, you're going to not overeat the way you do when you eat unhealthy. Because the foods that are unhealthy are very much just these empty calories that aren't going to satiate you and leave you feeling satisfied. So I always say, like, it's super important to like think about your protein, fats, and carbohydrates as like a complete plate, and you have to make sure you're including each one of those macronutrients on your plate, because in the American diet, we have most of our plate is carbs and we don't realize it. And then carbs become the culprit when really carbohydrates are fine. It's just when you eat too much of anything, even healthy food, you're going to gain weight. So it's really just honestly relearning like our food habits that, when we were little, what are types of things we heard? Like finish everything on your plate, don't waste food. So like now we're adults and we feel like we get this big portion. We have to eat the whole thing because we're taught from like a young age, finish your dinner, like finish everything. So I have to like reteach my clients, like, no, like listen to your body. When you're full, you're full. And if you're at a restaurant that has huge portions, take half of it home, like in a takeaway. Like eat when you're hungry and stop when you're not. So yeah.
No, it's one of those things where but we can all do better. So of course, for the listeners that are, going like, like I need to do something, how can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So people can find me. The best place is either my Instagram page or my Facebook page. And that's just going to be my name, Lehi Kafri. So my Instagram is Lehi_Kafri. And my Facebook is just my regular name. So I put out all of my, free content that has nutrition hacks and fitness hacks and tips and just little things that you guys can do on a day-to-day basis to be healthier. But then I also have my online coaching programs. I have one-to-one programs, but I also have smaller programs where it's more like a la carte, where it's like, hey, Lehi, I just need, to focus on my diet. Can we just work on that? And so I can create more of a custom hybrid program for whatever their needs are. So yeah, that's where people can find me.
Yes. So then, like other people listening, what do you recommend people do when they want to lose weight for a good start?
Awesome. Yeah, great question. So the first thing that anybody should be doing when they're losing weight is first get your nutrition parameters like established, meaning know what your calorie range is, because even if you have unhealthy food, if you're still in a caloric deficit, you'll still lose weight no matter what. So the way that you can do this is if you go to my Instagram or Facebook and click my link in the bio, I have a free fat loss blueprint that basically takes you step by step and gets you, your caloric deficit for your height, your weight, your age. So it takes you step by step. It's a free resource. And honestly, that's where I'd start. And then with any kind of tracking app like MyFitnessPal, start tracking what you have in a day just to get an idea of like how much you're actually eating. Because I have clients that they don't even realize that they're eating, 700 calories a day when they thought they were having, 1600, right? So a lot of my clients actually undereat because they've been dieting for so long. So what I encourage you guys to do, which that's bad too. So overeating and undereating are both bad because it's just going to wreak havoc on your metabolism. And we want our metabolism to be optimally functioning. So the best thing to do is find your actual range for your height, your weight, your age, your activity. And that can be found in my free fat loss blueprint, which if you need a link, I can send that to you so you can post it for your audience so they don't gotta like go dig around my
Of course, we'll put the link in. No worries.
Nutrition first.
One of the yes, exactly. Nutrition first, and then exercise. And the undereating is funny. Is like I always make this joke. Like I did intermittent fasting before it was like a thing. Because I have this tendency to like do coffee in the morning and then not have breakfast.
Yeah, totally.
But then I realized that actually it's not really beneficial because my body then is trying to hang on to everything. So I was like, oh yeah, so undereating is a funny thing as well, where it's just as bad, if you will, because your body reacts to that as well.
Yeah.
Tries to hang on to a thing.
It'll go in survival mode.
Yes, exactly. So then I was like wondering as well.
Yeah, I mean, with intermittent fasting, during your time window when you eat, just make sure that you eat the amount of calories your body needs in that time window, and then you'll be fine. So it might just be eating more during your time window of eating. So
Yeah, that's one of those
one of
things.
those
Like,
things. Like,
I'm not a
I'm not a
scientist when it
scientist
comes
when
to
it
that,
comes to
but
that, but
yeah,
yeah,
I'm probably
I'm
not
probably
doing
not
that
doing
well.
that
So I'm
well. So
trying
I'm
to eat
trying
more
to eat more
breakfast now,
breakfast
but
now.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah, it's
funny.
There you
funny.
go.
And then the probiotic, your gut
Your
health.
gut
That's
health.
that's such a
That's
big
such a
thing as
big
well
thing as well
because
because
I
Yes,
know,
probiotics are
like
amazing.
I took I take probiotics myself and such, and it's so helpful because yeah, a lot of it starts in your gut. And then like things like sodas are like so bad for your gut, and then even medicine can be really bad for your gut. So yeah,
yeah,
everybody should
everybody
have
Totally.
should have
probiotics.
probiotics.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
I don't
I
have
don't have
affiliate deal,
affiliate deal
people,
people,
so I'm not
so I'm not
making any
making
money
any money
out of
out
this
of this
announcement.
announcement.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, no, I
yeah,
have
no,
to
I
say
have to
that
say
in
that
case
in
Just
case
know
you
it's
know
good
somebody
for
goes
you,
like,
yeah.
this guy is making money out of me. No,
no,
I don't have
No, I
any,
tell all my
yeah,
clients I want them, like when it comes to supplements, I'm just like,
yeah,
I want you on a probiotic, but
yeah,
also regarding regular food, I want you eating like fermented foods because that's a
yes,
natural probiotic.
yes. I have
I have
kefir
kefir
or
or
kombucha that you
kombucha.
can,
Yes, yes. And the thing too to like let people know, like the whole importance of probiotics is that it's just providing your gut with more bacteria, and like you need
yeah,
bacteria in your gut to help break everything down. And the
yes,
reason being is like if you have good gut health, that means your immune system is going to be very strong. And especially with
yeah,
how
and
COVID
then
happened, like people are always being like, well, how can, it's like you can't prevent COVID from happening. It's going to come around. It's a virus. But the one thing you are in control of is your body. So why not strengthen your immune system? And how do we do that? Well, feed your gut probiotics so you have enough bacteria in there for good health
yes,
and immune system.
yeah, and then
And
that's
then
the
that's
thing
the
as
thing
well.
as well.
You probably talked about this as well, but like kefir and kombucha, both you can make yourself. You can buy kits, and it's actually like self-reproducing, if you will. Kombucha is a question of literally topping up, and kefir, like you can buy cheap kits and keep making it. And if I can make it, then anybody can make it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
totally.
it's one of those things where the excuse is also not like I have to go to this Whole Foods or whatever and like spend a lot of money on it. You can easily do that yourself and get your kefir grains or your Scooby for your kombucha online, and then start that way, and that's really beneficial. And you have a healthy alternative for soda as well. Um, Anyway, you almost think like I don't work in cybersecurity, but
Yeah, I'm like, oh my
anyway,
God, Mark, you know your stuff.
yeah, no, I try to, like I get older, so I have to watch my health. Anyway, in the case that government official is listening, and if you're not listening, government official, you should be listening. I always ask every guest the same question: what could governments around the world do better to help small businesses grow?
So I definitely think for governments, basically incentivizing like small business growth, whether it's sorry if there's barking in the background, that's my dog. Whether it's incentivizing like tax breaks for us to grow, or even lowering taxes for small businesses. I think that's just super helpful for us, especially in the beginning when we have so much capital we're putting in ourselves, and trying to build it up being small. I think just, yeah, tax incentives and tax breaks for small businesses, and even just like grants where if it benefits the community, I think those would be some great steps just to help like entrepreneurship and the private sector market like grow, because like I said before, we are the ones that are creating like real solutions that can just be more helpful, quicker and faster versus like the things that have to go through government bureaucratically that take time. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
gonna
was
say
gonna
like
say like
yeah, no, not like very good. I was gonna say like in this team as well, like I really don't understand like like we have so many TV channels. I know TV is made for entertainment, but why can't they come up with a channel or across the world? There might be countries that have it,
have it
like
Mm-hmm.
with
with
fitness
fitness
routines,
routines,
like
like
literally with
literally
a
with a
whole
whole
schedule and
schedule
on
and on
demand.
demand.
Yeah.
And then
And then
even if
even if
you like, if you're talking about grants, you'd be like, hey, you get a grant, and then in return for the grant, you have to supply a recorded class that we put online, which also then is like in the end also a lead magnet for you.
Yes,
So it's like
totally.
works both ways. And then you also lose the excuse that people say like I don't have money to like buy like a I don't know like a like online fitness on demand
Right,
class. I don't want to mention any names because then I don't want to give people free advertising. But you get my point where like why do we have 5,000 channels showing like shows like um where they make like ridiculous cakes and you're just thinking like well that's 5,000 calories per slice.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the government should like come up with like a fitness channel, and then people can work to different exercises, and then even if you have people that go like they go from 0 to like 1 exercise a week, that's already a win.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they get more comfortable, so then they feel more comfortable going to a gym because they know that
Yeah. I mean,
they
even
can do it.
incentivizing
That
people.
that's so.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I love that you said that. Like government wise, I mean, they could literally incentivize like a free gym membership to everyone. And then, obviously the government can like pay the gym to obviously keep it up and running and functional. But like being able to give people zero excuses, whether it's a financial thing or a time thing, like, yeah, have something like that 24/7, like gym wise, TV wise, that's all based around fitness and health and that people have access to.
Yeah, or even like do tax credits where if you do your taxes with the IRS or whatever national institution, where again it might be so in the US, but where you basically get to um, distract or like take off what you spent on your gym.
Yep.
So there's an additional incentive for you to actually go to a gym. And yes, you can say some people might not go to gym, but again, if you look at the whole population and of course the whole population, 10% of those people then end up going to gym, you're still winning because it means that these people go to the gym, they get fitter, people around them and neighborhood and whatever see that they get fitter, and then like it's a snowball kind of effect. Maybe I'm too idealistic, but like it should be in government's interest around the world that people are fitter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, this is probably why I'm not in government. I can only hope. And then for the people listening to the podcast that haven't started a business yet or want to start a new business, if a budding entrepreneur would ask you for one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yes. My one piece of advice, if you're trying to go out on your own and do your own thing, is to hire a mentor who is doing what you want to do, meaning they are making the money you want to make. They are already living proof of and have the results that you want to have. So within the industry of like gurus and all that, I would definitely say like do your homework, make sure that this person is legit and real and isn't just a one-hit wonder, but somebody who is time and time again proving their concept, and just learn from who you want to, be like. So again, they're going to give you all the shortcuts, and yes, you're going to invest money, but I mean, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on college with no guarantee of a job, honestly, at this point, versus a mentor who can teach you real life skills that can help your business. That is golden, and that is worth the thousands of dollars that you need in order to make that huge jump in your business. Because I was going from making, $1,500 to $2,000 a month USD for those of you guys in Europe, $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and I hired my mentor. I spent probably over, and this was just a few mentors, but I probably spent over $20,000 in just hiring coaches and mentors. But what I learned from them just tripled my income. So I went from making, $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and now I make anywhere from 6 to 10K a month every single month because of all the things I learned from my mentors. And
Yes,
so hire yourself
a
a
mentor is
mentor.
there to give you short. Yes, a mentor will help you with like finding shortcuts. So so yes, you pay, and then but then the mentor can help you get to your goals quicker, much quicker.
So invest in a coach or a mentor. That's my top advice.
Yes, yes. And find and also important, find a reputable one. As for testimonials, kind of thing, then check the person that is supposed to provide a testimonial.
Yeah, because I mean, on Instagram and Facebook, there's some people that they will literally rent out, a mansion and, a Lamborghini, and it's not really theirs, and they'll act like they're flashy, but it's not true. So just make sure.
We all know the same people that parked the Lamborghini in a garage and then be like, I'm so good because I have a Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's just like, show me your income statements.
You just went to, yes, exactly, like show your income slip. People go like, yeah, I have I do 6 figures a year, and it's like, no, what you did is that for the first time this first month you did 10K.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you did 6 figures yet. You're on your first.
I'm so glad you said that too, because a lot of people say, well, no, the mentors that say, or the coaches and gurus out there that will say, oh, I make 7 figures a year, or I make 8 figures. Here's the thing. Remember, is it revenue or is it profit? Because there is a very big difference. Because when you cut out all the expenses, and then you say, what did you really take home after you pay your employees, after you pay your taxes, after you pay the business expenses, what did you really make? And what they're really making is, instead of 7 figures, they're really just making like, instead of like the, crazy like $1 million a month where they're like, oh, I make 8 figures, they're really making 30K a month in take home because of after all expenses, it's just like, which again, I mean, that's amazing. 30K a month is great. But again, that's not being like, you're not really making 8 figures though. You're just doing it in revenue. So make sure you know what profit is and what revenue is.
Exactly. Yes, profit, and make sure you have your margin in check. Like
I've worked
what's
for
your
a few
margin?
of those,
Is the margin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all know people. So then like it's new times, pre-post COVID, new normal, great reset, whatever whatever you want to call it nowadays. So in light of that, and a bit of like a light question, if you had a magic wand, would you want to make happen?
Yeah, if I had a magic wand, I would want to basically be able to. Oh man, this one I get a little stuck on because I want to do so many things, but I would definitely want to be able to reach more people with my message because it's about leveling the playing field and making sure people actually know the real factual information versus, just sexy marketing, and really breaking people of that because it's such a huge obstacle for people. And then, I mean, obviously, just I hope and wish that, everyone would get the proper education of what real health is. And if we could get back to that and know that, moving our body and drinking water and being out in the sunshine and, socializing with each other is true health. Like we're social creatures to begin with. So, if we are good to our bodies and good to each other, like we're going to be healthier for that. So I hope that everybody gets back to the basics. That would be my main thing.
Yes, yeah, like like if we all get healthy and then less diabetes and people go from pre-diabetic back to normal. In the end, we all win. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Better quality of life.
Yeah,
And then
because we live in an age where it's all about sick care. It's not health care, it's sick care.
yeah,
We take care of the situation when it's already too late. Like there's already disease, there's already, so I want for the world to be more proactive, and, we're more proactive with our health before it gets that bad.
exactly. Yeah, no, that like completely makes sense. Hopefully we get there, and maybe this whole COVID crisis or whatever helps people think a bit more about how their health can help them. We have Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
I think your
got it.
connection
Okay.
is a bit.
Yep. I can hear
Yeah,
you
that's
now.
fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, keep going. You cut out for a second.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, you dropped off, so you were saying something?
Oh, just that we become more proactive in our health, and if we can do that, there'll be less having to like clean up and like dealing with like sick care, versus we can actually have true health care by taking control of our health ourselves to begin with, and not relying on a band-aid.
Yes, and then we can all like strive to be 100 years old. Live brilliant lives, and then
High
live on
quality
the
life.
odds,
High quality life. That's what I love.
yes, like spend time in the French Riviera, or I don't know, on
I've never been, but I'd love to
cruise ship.
go.
Now, maybe maybe not cruise ship right now, but you get my point. I don't know, some tropical island. I don't
Yes.
know. Cancun would also be nice. Don't get me wrong.
Tulum.
So when we hit retirement, we still have our health, because that's really
Right.
like that should be the goal. Get to retirement and still have our health, so we can enjoy it. So let's aim for that. I would say thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Mark. This was a great convo. I
It
loved
was fun.
it. Absolutely.
And I hope I hope listeners also enjoyed it wherever they are in the world. And yes, I hope to not talk about my health next episode. Not to embarrass myself too much.
No, you're doing so good. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I'll see you all next episode.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you for tuning in this episode. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I look forward to having you tune in again next episode. See you next time.